and I just got done watching 2014's Into the Woods, starring Meryl Streep, Anna Kendrick, Emma Blunt, and James Corden. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. This is actually a Blu-ray and not a DVD. The reason for that is I have this on loan from my best friend Donna at the moment, and I was thinking about it because I have like a handful of Blu-rays, and I thought, you know what, just to change it up a bit, I might go for, I'm not saying I will, but I was just doing this for now, but I might do like Blu-ray Fridays just for the next few weeks or so, or maybe just throw in one in like once a month kind of thing. That's probably more likely. Like I say, I have literally like a dozen, and that's about it. So maybe I'll do one a month. That'll probably be how it'll work out. But yeah, welcome to Blu-ray Friday on A Movie a Night. Yeah, I've seen this before. I went to see it at the cinema at the start of the year with Donna. She didn't know it at all, and whereas I have a past because I did technical theatre at college, where I had to essentially work in the theatre to learn the trade kind of thing. And one of the shows we worked on was Into the Woods, and I was on costume, and we had to learn that show backwards and forwards. So, and what we were shown to help us get inspiration and stuff and learn it was the original 1988, 87, something around there, Broadway version starring Bernadette Peters, Chuck Wagner, Joanne Gleason, all that lot. So, so I know this show really, really well. And when I heard they were doing a movie, I was like really excited and like about time. But at the same time, I was a bit nervous because I was like, I hope they do this justice. And I recently talked about it on a video log that I did. But I really wanted to cover this now because, like I say, Donna loaned it to me. She bought it on Blu-ray. She loaned it to me after showing it to her niece. And watching it again, I still have the same problems I had with it the first time. For those who don't know, it's like a load of kind of mini stories all gathered together. The fairy tales, basically. You got Cinderella, you got the Wicked Witch, you've got Rapunzel, you've got Jack and the Beanstalk, and they all kind of merge to, you know, they all each have their own goals and stuff that they're wishing for, and situations that arise to give them their happily ever after. You know, the Cinderella wants to go to the ball with the prince. The baker and his wife want a child, but they've been cursed by this witch. It's a number of things, and really, the whole purpose of the show is not only to bring them all together and have their stories intertwine, but once they've got their happily ever afters, in the theatre version, that would be where you would have your intermission. Obviously, in a movie, they don't have that. But the idea is that you have that in the first half, and in the second half, you show what happens after the happily ever after, and that life isn't like that. That it doesn't just end like that, and everything's fine. Whereas this movie, it kind of shows that, but a lot of people have really criticised it because everybody was expecting it to end at the happily ever after. Because the problem is this movie is made by Disney, who are the production company of Happily Ever Afters. And I think what didn't help is at the same time that this movie came out, the live action version of Cinderella was due to be coming out. So I think a lot of people went to this movie expecting it to be, you know, really, really kind of like that and just end at that. So by an hour and a quarter mark, you're kind of like, okay, where else? And you have like another hour and a quarter to go, and it really is not particularly well paced, the second act, which is really bizarre because it sticks pretty pretty well to the source material. There are songs that are missing that I really miss. Especially songs like you know, Goodbye Old Friend with that Jack has with the cow. I know that's in the first act, but I felt like that made the bond between the two of them a lot more emotional in the stage show, whereas it's not in the movie version. But I can understand why they cut it. I can understand why they cut something like First Midnight and Second Midnight, but I hate that Ever After is not in there, and it's kind of in there. I mean, I understand why they don't have it at the midway point, but the Ever After is in at the very end as the credits begin to roll, and I don't like the arrangement on it. I don't feel like it's really particularly well done. So that kind of really makes me sad. But yeah, generally I don't feel like the pacing in the second act is all that good at all. And even though it does stick pretty well to the script, it just doesn't feel it for me. And as somebody who loves the show, I really feel it start to lag during that last half. For those who are bitching that, you know, stuff like Into the Woods is repeated, dude, it's the main theme song. This happens in musicals. I will agree that James Corden's narrator gets on the nerves. It's different in a stage show. But in a movie where so much more can be shown, there's not as much need for the narrator at the length that he's in it for. Because at least on the stage show, the narrator's there and, you know, he helps to describe stuff that can't actually be shown necessarily visually. That was another thing that bugged me though, was that in the stage show, and I know it's easy for me to keep going, oh, in the stage show it was this, in the stage show it was that, but I think the problem is a lot of people are criticising this movie without considering the fact that it is actually based on a musical stage piece. Now, you know, a lot of people, if this wasn't true to the source material, a lot of people would bitch and moan, how dare they bastardize this piece, you know, classic Stephen Sondheim piece, you know. So they've tried to stay a bit more, you know, to the source material. It's very difficult being a Disney movie because it's not as dark as the actual show is. And I think that's the problem. If it had not been Disney, I think, one, it would have been a lot more deep and thorough, especially in the second act, which is of course when it gets particularly dark, and I really feel it struggles for that reason. But the other thing is, I had a reason for saying that and my mind has just died, I'm sorry. What I was going to say before is regarding the narrator in the stage show, the baker's father appears as this dishevelled man. He's like this this dishevelled man that turns up, kind of spying on the characters, and it's revealed that he's the baker's father. And the baker's father is really, really badly. He's absent from this movie, just shown as a flashback at the beginning, and I wouldn't have minded that. But later on, the baker has a scene where, you know, his dad is like, don't make the same mistakes I did and stuff like that. And that made sense in the context when, like, his father was about to die and that in the stage show, and he was like, but in this, it felt like a very Luke Skywalker kind of Obi-Wan ghost moment. I found it really distracting. And there's a number of other things, like in the stage show Rapunzel dies and this, that and the other, and they steered away from that. Of course, I love Agony is one of my favourite songs between the two princes, which is hilarious. It is really well done in this movie the first time. The reprise isn't there because in the stage show there is this subplot where, you know, the whole idea is that the princes have got their princesses, but then they start to stray. And in the stage show, they go off with Snow White and... shit, I can't think of the other one. But Sleeping Beauty, that's it. Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and they have this reprise of the Agony song, you know, like making references to the dwarves and sleeping all the time and stuff like that. And that wasn't there, and as a result, I mean, because they're kind of doing this whole Rapunzel and her prince are really loyal to each other, Disney, 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 and also time constraints. But it kind of took away again from a lot of the kind of storytelling plot. I will say though, as much as I moan about this movie just because of comparing it to the source, it is still an enjoyable movie. Everybody is brilliantly cast. As I said, I was a bit dubious. You know, I'm used to Bernadette Peters being the witch and so many other people. But James Corden and Emma Blunt are perfect as the baker and baker's wife. Anna Kendrick, I enjoyed. She's okay as Cinderella. Meryl Streep is an interesting one because I loved her in Mamma Mia. She is on my trifecta. I keep saying this recently. She's on my trifecta of favourite actresses of all time. So I don't like to think of putting her down in any way. But I thought she was going to be perfectly cast, and she is. But there's something just missing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the witch's blue hair putting me off. I don't know. Johnny Depp as the wolf was meh. He would probably be the weakest link for me. I felt like the wolf's character in this, although, you know, the same as the stage show, just didn't have the same kind of panache as the stage show version. I can see why they picked Johnny Depp, but I just didn't really feel it. Chris Pine shattering up Cinderella's prince was hilarious. He even did, like, it's even better because of course he plays Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies, but he does this very, very dramatic, you know, kind of, it's just hilarious to watch and behold, and there is that pompousness that character needs as well. So everybody is really well cast. James Corden, not the strongest singer, which is annoying because when he sings on A League of Their Own, he's quite good, but here I felt like he was struggling at times. He would probably be one of my favourite people in this whole movie. But yeah, no, it's an enjoyable movie. It's an enjoyable musical. I think if you love your musicals, you will enjoy this. It's not as good as the stage show. Not by a long shot, but with what they had, with what they were able to do, I think they've done really, really well. For like a 2 hour 40-minute long movie, you know, what they've had to cut down and stuff works the way it does. Like I say, I can understand why people moan about this, but I think people have taken it far too much out of context. Personally, I would easily give it a 7.5, 8 out of 10. It's enjoyable, it's a good evening or afternoon watch. It's one to get, you know, your friends round and sing along with and stuff. And, you know, if you just want a different version of the fairy tale story, you know, that doesn't have, I mean, it does have that happily ever after, but at the same time shows that actually there's more to it and more to take away from these stupid things that are like, oh, the princess that doesn't know the prince just magically marries him and that's the end. Thank you, fairy tale world. You know, this is what we teach our kids, you know, this is what I was taught as a kid. You know, this is how it works. It doesn't, and this obviously shows the other side of it in a way while building up as well. Do check it out if you love your musicals. Please bear in mind that it is based on a stage show, and as a result, you know, stuff like the repeating themes, the repeating songs, they are a part of that piece. But yeah, no, that was, I'm sorry for rambling. I could probably ramble about this technologically and otherwise for quite a while, because I know, like I say, just musical you know, the orchestration, the direction, etc. I could probably talk about at for length. But it's worth checking out, but it is flawed. That was 2014's Into the Woods. That was tonight's movie. I'll be back again on Monday. I'm taking the weekend off for a while. I burnt out after doing like 116 back-to-back movie nights. It took the passion out of watching movies, and I'm trying to like expand my channel, get more reviews out there, you know, the proper, like the sketchy reviews, and you know, with the X-Files game review that I've been doing for a length of time and that. I want to be focusing on those, but I also want to have time to have my own life, you know, watching TV and catching up with stuff and gaming and stuff. So I'm going to be taking the weekends off for the foreseeable future. So I know, it's called a movie a night, and it's going to be a movie for 5 nights and then a couple of days off. But I really need to do this for my health and just for my sanity in a way, and to be able to make the reviews a lot more enjoyable to watch, because if I start doing the same stuff over and over again, it's not going to make it fun for me, and it's not going to be watchable for you. I know this past couple of weeks the reviews have not been particularly great, and I do apologise for that. It's as I am starting, because like I say, it's been 6 months of me not doing this, so I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of doing it. And thank you so much to those that have bared with me and carried on watching and shown support otherwise. Please like and subscribe and check out my other videos if you get the chance. Please take care, everybody, and hope to see you. Please tune in for our movie magic and gaming gurus chat over on May to December's channel, and you know, subscribe to his channel anyway. But please check out our chats every Monday, 8:30 ish, London UK time. So that's about 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Please check it out if you get the chance. And for now though, guys, this is Sketch, signing out.